thought it would be good to do a top 10 for Sonic R, highlighting as many little known, or in some cases until now, unknown facts about the game. So here we go. Number 10. Sonic R was originally going to be called Sonic TT. You can see this name is even still at the top of the final code for the game. Calling it TT had nothing to do with the name of my development studio, Traveller's Tales, but was meant to fit in with racing terms such as Time Trial or Tourist Trophy, or possibly to tie in with the successful Manx TT game Sega released for the Saturn 2 years earlier. I would have loved the game to have stayed named as Sonic TT for obvious reasons, but Sonic R has a certain charm as well. Number 9. Sonic R started life as a Formula 1 game we were developing for Sega. Traveller's Tales' arch rivals Bizarre Creations had developed a hugely successful Formula 1 game for the Sony PlayStation a year earlier, and so Sega wanted us to develop a Saturn Formula 1 game in response. We were a few months into the project and had even built some car models when Sega cancelled Sonic X-treme and needed a replacement Sonic title as soon as possible. They talked to us and asked if we could use our Formula 1 engine to make a Sonic racing game in time for Christmas, and that became Sonic R. This is the first Sonic R prototype demo we made. If we take a look at the code and scroll through it, you can see that the code for the movement of the cars commented out, even down to the 22 cars that made up the Formula 1 grid at the time. Number 8. Despite internet articles to the contrary, Sonic R did have a playable demo at E3 in 1997, as seen here in this old footage. What is interesting is that the footage shown in this video does not match the E3 demo prototype. This seems an older version of the game with no HUD icons present yet. However, this other video taken at the same E3 does have the HUD elements, and if you look carefully at the footage playing in the background of the first video, you can just make out the HUD in the demo on the show floor. So where did the older footage come from? Either Sega gave out footage at the event and it was just older footage, or it was possible that the demo was swapped after the first day of the show and updated with a newer version. I would often fly out to E3 carrying multiple copies of the latest code and swap all the discs on the show floor with the latest version. Interestingly, I vividly remember watching people play Sonic R at E3 and giving up when Sonic ended up in the water because he moved so slowly in that demo. The first thing I did after E3 was massively speed up how quickly you could move in the water to solve that issue. Number 7. Sonic R was originally going to have 3 different shields to collect. In the final game, there is the Water Shield, which allows you to run over water without slowing down, and the Thunder Shield, which acts as a magnet to collect rings. But there was also going to be a Flame Shield, which would protect you from enemy attacks, but that you would lose if you fell in the water. In the end, it seemed too similar to the Thunder Shield, so it was removed. Number 6. It was widely believed that Sonic R was originally going to have different times of day for races to take place, because earlier prototypes had sunset skies, and also that the PC version did have this feature. However, the truth is that we never envisaged different times of day at the same tracks for the Sega Saturn version, and the simple reality is that the music track for Resort Island was called Can You Feel the Sunshine, which didn't make a lot of sense when the sun had just set. So we changed the skybox. Number 5. Sonic R was originally going to have different box art. You can see a version of it in some of the early prototype builds on the title screen before we changed it to match the new box art. The old box was even used as late as in this Electronics Boutique Christmas catalogue. The box art was changed because it was felt that showing Metal Sonic on the cover gave away that hidden character secret. We still use that art at the end of the game, but I'm not sure why the art wasn't just photoshopped to remove Metal Sonic and used as the box, as I think it made for a far better cover. Number 4. Sonic R was originally planned to have a couple of extra modes that never made the final game. You can see one mentioned here that was Relay Mode. The idea behind that was that you'd race the first lap as one character, and as you crossed the line you'd swap to the next character, and so on until you completed the relay. I can't really remember why that mode was cancelled, but it may have been because you'd have had to do more than 3 laps to use all the characters, and the race code and HUD wasn't set up to do that. Also cancelled was a mirror mode, which would have mirrored the screen so that the tracks would have all felt different to race around. I'm pretty sure that it was going to slow down all the polygon draw code for the whole game to support that, so I think that's why it was dropped. And also, we had so little time to finish the game in time for release that it may have been that the few extra weeks to make and test these modes was just too risky. Number 3. All the tracks were based on designs drawn out for us on paper by the Sonic team. You can see how the Regal Ruins level closely matches the actual paper design Sega sent us. You can even see some of the comments on the paper design were only in Japanese. Number 2. When I heard the original music that Sega had proposed for Sonic R, I was really worried about how having music with lyrics in it would go down in a video game. Although TJ Davis did a great job singing on the tracks, I persuaded Sega to produce an instrumental version of each track, and so I could add an option for the player to turn off the lyrics if they wanted. At first I wanted the default option to be for the lyrics to be off, but as I heard the tracks more and more, I realised what the rest of the world already knows. The Sonic R soundtrack, with lyrics, is amazing. Number 1. The original graphics for Sonic R were going to be a lot closer to Sonic 3D. You can see the bushes in Sonic 3D have a very distinctive look to them, and here are the very first texture pages for Sonic R. You can see the very same style of bushes being used in the textures. But as development went on, you can see that these textures were reduced and then dropped altogether by the time we get to the final textures used in the game. Well, I hope you enjoyed a look at these little known Sonic R facts. As always, please leave a like below, and if you enjoyed this video, please consider subscribing. And I guess there is that bell icon thing now too, whatever that does. See you next time.